If I told you that within the next 90 days, you could double your sales performance, well, it obviously might sound a little bit too good to be true. And whilst yes, I can't guarantee those results, I can tell you that I've seen the doubling of sales performance over and over again when a 30, 60, 90-day plan has been implemented with our students over at Salesman.com Academy. Now, Liam has recently joined the Salesman.com team. He's an ex-Salesforce account executive, and in this video, he's going to be breaking down the 3 key steps to help you craft your own personal winning 30, 60, 90-day plan, and he's going to share some of the mistakes that you need to avoid, basically at all costs, if you want to get to the top of your sales team leaderboard.
Thanks, Will. Now, a 30, 60, 90-day sales plan is super important, and there are a couple things we have to know, so let's jump right into it. Step number 1 is know who you're creating the plan for. Building a winning sales plan is about strategy, but before we jump in, you really have to figure out who you're strategizing it for. That's right, this plan needs to impress 2 key people. Number 1, that's your team, and number 2, of course, that's you. First things first, you need to understand what the big picture is for your sales team. What are the goals that your sales managers and the entire team are crushing right now? Are they laser focused on hitting specific revenue targets? Or maybe there's a new marketing campaign that they're pushing, or a solid sales tactic that is pretty much working for everybody on your team. Some of you might even be trying to find a new sales job. In that case, find the salesperson at the company on LinkedIn and chat with them. Ask them what kind of goals they're working towards. And just a heads up, this might not be possible for every company and not everybody might respond to you, but it's definitely worth a shot. On the other hand, some of you might be new on the job and are tackling a fresh territory. In that case, chat with your sales manager directly. Just find out what are some metrics that matter most to them and to the organization, whether it is a revenue target, sales and marketing initiatives, or tactics that are already working for the rest of the team. Second, you have to identify your own priorities. So let's talk about you for a second. What are your own personal goals right now? Maybe you're aiming to make some serious commissions, or maybe you're just building a foundation for even bigger success down your sales career. But before you even start crafting your plan, just think about this, really figure out what you want to achieve. This gives you a clear direction and sets you up for winning in the long term. Is there a new sales tool you want to try? Or maybe you want to motivate your team or push a new product or service that's coming up in your company. Guess what? Your sales plan can help you fast track pretty much all of that. So, what are some of your biggest sales goals right now? Let me know in the comment section below. As for the actual plan, I'll unveil a super easy template later on in the video to make sure you get the best results. And trust me, it'll save you tons of time and get you back on the fast track to sales success. But for now, keep this in mind. Knowing who you're building this plan for is absolutely crucial. Step 2, track your sales progress. So far, you've got your goals locked and loaded. But now what? Here's the key. You have to track your progress to see if the plan is actually working. Remember this saying by a wise man called Peter Drucker: you can improve what you don't measure. By keeping an eye on your progress, you can identify what's working and what's not working. On a recent Salesman.com podcast, Mark McDougall explained why measuring success is important.
It's very important, in my opinion, to tie the metric you're using to track the effectiveness of something to exactly the thing that it's tracking. If people aren't opening it, it's the subject line. If people aren't converting, it's probably the copy or just the email call to action or something like that. If people aren't buying from you, it's probably your sales process. Or maybe, they were just interested in learning more about the campaign. We'll see.
And now that we understand the power and importance of measurement, how do we become the masters of measuring the things that really matter in sales? Well, to do that, number 1, you have to play the numbers game. Track the number of calls you make, emails you send, and even meetings that you are actually landing. This will show you how much hustle you're bringing to the table. Then look at something very important, which is conversion rates. How many of those calls actually turn into sales? This metric tells you how effective your sales pitch is at converting prospects into actual customers. Then look at the revenue generated. This is the ultimate goal at the end of the day in sales. So keep tabs on how much you're bringing in. This will let you know if your efforts are translating into commissions you want to make or time that you don't want to lose. So keep track of that. Now, look, let's be honest, there's more to sales success than just numbers. Here are some softer metrics to consider as well. First, we have to obviously consider customer satisfaction. Are your customers happy with your product or service? Positive feedback means repeated business and potential referrals. Then we also have to look at the industry knowledge. Staying ahead of the curve is absolute key, especially in a competitive climate. And I'm actually curious, what are some of your favorite ways to track your sales progress? I know everybody has a different style, so please share your tips in the comments below. At the end of the day, we're all learning from each other. And also remember that at the end of this very video, I'll share some sneaky mistakes you definitely want to avoid when building your plan. So don't miss on those for sure. For now, let's get down to the actual plan, which brings us to step number 3. Craft your winning 30, 60, 90 day battle plan. All right, so at this point, you've figured out your goals and how to track your progress. Now it's time to translate that into the battle plan, your official 30, 60, 90 day sales plan. This is what you'll use to impress your sales manager and dominate those sales targets. Remember, most of the hard work is already done. You just got to put in all the work together in a clear and organized way. So here's a breakdown for each stage of your plan. Month number 1, downloading the game. Think of the first month as your sales onboarding. You're absorbing all of the info you can to become a product and pretty much company expert. Here's what success really looks like at this stage. First, we have to understand pretty much the big picture, and that is knowing your company's priorities, your role, and how everything fits together. Then building a solid foundation of knowledge about the products and services you're selling is obviously absolutely key. After that, we'll focus on understanding how your product honestly stacks up against the competition. So once we have that in place, we can focus on making connections with key people in the company, like maybe customer support or maybe some of the sales leadership that you really vibe with. That's really important at the end of the day because they're the people you're going to be learning from. Last but not least, we'll dig into the CRM data, which will help us identify some potential customers and new prospects to target. Pro tip, for each success goal, include specific actions you'll take to achieve them. Imagine a success goal like having a good grasp of your product range. You could say something like, I don't know, I'll spend an hour each week with the product specialist learning the ins and outs of the product. That's a great goal to have. Month 2, level up. By month 2, you're pretty much ready to step up your game. You'll be out there talking to prospects and diving deeper into the sales process. Here are some key things to focus on. First, start by creating at least 5 solid leads. These are potential customers who might be interested in buying from you. Once you have that in place, maybe you can start learning from the top salespeople in the company. Maybe that's shadowing them or observing their sales techniques. Having a high level understanding of everything related to your product or service is absolutely key. So make sure you have that covered. And don't forget that practice makes perfect. So sharpening your skills through role playing with colleagues will help you get up to speed even faster. Last but not least, finish any formal sales training or onboarding required to make sure you're completely cleared. Remember, these are just general pointers. The specifics will vary depending on your role, experience, and even the company you're working for. Month 3, domination mode. Now, by month 3, you've already have a targeted list of prospects and you're building relationships with some of the key accounts. Here's what success looks like at this stage. To start with, you have a well-defined and optimized list of potential customers that you're actively targeting. At the same time, you're establishing a daily schedule that allows you to stay on top of prospecting, following up, and everything else on your plate. You're also a team player. At the end of the day, sales is a team sport. So being a valuable member of the sales team is a big part of just being a good salesperson. This means collaborating with colleagues and contributing to the overall success of the team. Now, during your 90-day review, highlight a few key achievements from the list we just created. Show your manager how you've been putting in the work, and not only putting in the work, but actually getting the results. And there you have it. By following these steps, you'll craft a winning 30, 60, 90-day sales plan that'll set you up for success. But don't worry, we're not done yet. There are some sneaky traps you can avoid to make sure all of your hard work pays off. Now, I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, so let's get to them. So before you get absolutely cracking, let's talk about some of the sneaky traps that can trip you up. So we want you to absolutely just crush it. So listen closely and don't skip any of these steps. Mistake number 1, missing the measurement mark. Now look, your sales manager, as much as we want them to be, they're not mind readers. So your plan needs to be more than just pretty words. They need you to clearly define how you'll measure your success in your plan. Think of it as setting up like small goals for each stage of the 30, 60, 90-day period. Remember, these statements like increase sales or, get more meetings, they're too general. Instead, get really specific. For example, a real success goal can be like, you know what? I will complete 20 calls to potential customers each week. When you're specific, it shows your sales manager and the rest of your team that you're serious about this. Mistake number 2, and this kind of ties in with mistake number 1, is the ambiguity trap. Now, look, here's the deal. Your plan needs to be clear and concise. Imagine handing your manager a blurry picture saying, look, this is my plan to dominate this quarter and my targets for this quarter. That's not exactly confidence inspiring. Sales managers love specifics. They want to see concrete numbers, timelines, and actionable steps. So avoid statements like improve my sales strategy, or instead break it down. Maybe you could say something like research 3 new sales techniques and implement the most promising one within the next, let's just say 30 days. Now that's a goal your manager will be definitely impressed by. Mistake number 3, the lone wolf. And I raise my hand and I admit I've definitely fallen into this trap many times. So look, you need to think of your sales manager as a success coach. Schedule meetings with them throughout your 30, 60, 90-day marks. These meetings are crucial for anything from reviewing your progress to getting valuable feedback and fine-tuning your plan as you see fit. Remember, you're not in this alone. Your sales manager is there to support you and help you win. Don't be afraid. Look, I've made this mistake plenty of times. Do not be afraid to ask questions, share challenges, and leverage their experience and expertise. This is the number 1 way, if not the number 1 or 2 way, in which you are going to grow the most as a salesperson. Learn from your leaders. And if you want to make crafting your plan even a little bit easier, there's a free downloadable 30, 60, 90-day sales plan template waiting for you down in the description below. So make sure you get that as well. This will save you a lot of time and a lot of frustration, so make sure you use it. And if you want to continue improving your sales performance, why not click the video on the screen right now?